morning.
I want to watch the news.
Are you making headway at least?
This is the news.
Schmack-a-macabre, it's time for the only news that matters. And interestingly, the album that is usually pointed at as the birth of prog metal was released the same year that punk rock was beginning to cause a commotion. Of course, the album in question is Rush's 1976 classic 2112, which certainly met the #1 prog requirement, including at least one song that took up an entire side of an album. And in that case of 2112, it was the album's title track, which was comprised of several different sections and clocks in at 20 minutes and 34 seconds, which punk rock was completely opposite of. Only a single song off the Ramones' 1976 self-titled stretches passes the 2-minute and 30-second mark. But during an interview with Booked on Rock, the author of a new book called Rush at 50, Daniel Berkspan, explained how Rush's breakthrough album had something in common with the up-and-coming punkers. And no, it wasn't musical. He said, the record previously to that did not sell well. It was Caressive Steel. Was very progressive, way out there in a lot of ways, and it just didn't do that great. So the label's like, all right, we're giving you one more chance. You better make a record full of hits or on the next album, or we're dropping you. And they're like, okay. And they put out a 20-minute song on side 1 about space dystopia. As it turned out, it was precisely with the band's stubbornness that created their breakthrough album. According to Berkspan, this is similar to how a punk band refused to conform to what was going on in the mainstream. Angie Scarborough, Los Angeles-based musicians who helped me with the time signature in these songs, she told me that she always considered Rush to be the ultimate punk rock band for reasons like that. Where it's like, the label is like, we need you to be more commercial. And their answer is a well-deserved middle finger salute called Side 1 of 2112. And it did great for them. And that's the thing. Well, there you go. Yeah, of course they're not punk rock, but they got the punk rock attitude. And yeah, I've been listening to a lot of 70s Rush lately. And boy, I got a new love for that Caressive Steel. There will be an episode of Caressive Steel eventually. If not up already, because I may be doing it very soon. And but 2112 will always be my favorite. You know, that's the one Rush album that I heard for the first time, and I was like, damn. Because I already heard, what was it? Permanent Waves. I heard that one. And I think I heard Hemispheres before. I've heard a couple songs off Hemispheres. But as far as an album, I think 2112 was either that or All the World's a Stage. One of those two was the first Rush album I bought. And I'll never forget playing 2112, the studio album, with the headphones on. Ultimate album, man. That side 1 is amazing. And I love side 2. There's many people that have a problem with a song here or there, side 2. Not me, man. I love them more. But I will say, I do like Alice in Chains' version of Tears more than the Rush version. And I love the Rush version. I have no problem with 2112. I think it's just, it's a miraculous album, man. To me, it's all killer, no filler. You know what? No, I remember now. What was my first Rush album? It was the first one. Because I remember hearing the song Working Man on the radio. And, you know, I used to cut lawns and make money and buy records. And I vividly remember hearing that Rush song, knowing that I was scheduled to cut lawns that weekend. And I remember thinking, I need to buy this first Rush album. So yeah, the very first Rush album I owned was the first album, before 2112 and before the live album. It's the live album and 2112 I'm a little confused on which one I got first. But my God, do I love that first album. Very different, but you know what? There's elements of that first album on Fly By Night and Caress of Steel. I think I'm Going Bald could have fit fine. Best I Can could have fit fine on the first Rush album. They got, you know, By Torn the Slow Dog is probably the only proggy thing they did on Fly By Night. And then, you know, they got a little more proggier on Caress of Steel. And it is a strange album. But for some reason, it was one of those albums that I heard Caress of Steel for the first time. And, you know, it wasn't that it grew on me, but I didn't dislike it. I was like, that's good. But the more I listen to it, the more I'll get into it. But maybe I should stop talking about Caress of Steel because I plan on making an episode, a classic rock review of Rush. There's a lot of Rush albums I got to review, man. I think I reviewed Signals, right? I think that's the only, and Permanent Waves maybe. And, I'm sure I did 2112. I don't even know. I got to search, man. Farewell to King, my second favorite. But, yeah, their attitude was totally punk rock. Fuck you, we're going to do what we want. And it's amazing, though. You got to hand it to Mercury Records. They wanted Rush to do this thing, you know, to be more commercial. And Rush did the opposite, sent it to Mercury Records. And they had the power to go, we're not releasing this. We told you what we wanted. But they didn't. They did the smart thing. And they released it. Maybe what happened was those record executives got that album put on side one and were like, all right, this is a very long song, but we ain't going to get no radio play, but this shit's too awesome. This shit's got to gain an audience. That's what I think happened. Rush made it on the strength of their albums. You know, not hit singles. You know, all through the 70s, they didn't have no hit single. I think the first, well, I don't know if it was a hit or not, but, you know, radio staples, probably Spirit of the Radio, Free Will, Tom Sawyer. You know, Red Barchetta and Limelight. That, I think, is the closest they came to hit singles, but they built their audience in the 70s with no hit singles. Starting with 2112, you know? The first three albums coasted, but 2112 is what put them on the map. And they follow it up with an equally proggy album of Farewell to King, prog metal. And then they took it as far as they could on the next one, Hemispheres. I mean, that's them at their proggiest, most complicated, with my favorite Rush song, La Vida Strangiato. That is my favorite Rush song, man. I can't get enough of that damn song, you know? And Permanent Waves, I mean, they had some proggy stuff like Natural Science and Jacob's Ladder and stuff, but some of those songs are kind of shaved down. You know, you have your Entretenue, or what is it? Spirit of the Radio, different strings, you know? Getting a little simpler, then all hell broke loose with the next one. Moving Pictures was a phenomenon. It's the most popular Rush ever was. And oddly enough, I never liked Tom Sawyer. I love that album. But Tom Sawyer and Camera's Eye. I know a lot of you all love those songs. Those are the two songs I can do without. I love the rest of it. I love Red Barchetta, YYZ, fucking Limelight, Witch Hunt Rules, so does Vital Signs. Man, that's an amazing album. And I love Signals. The next album, I have no problem with any. Oh, wait, no. The last song, Countdown. I used to like that song. For some reason, I don't like it anymore. I like Turn It Off after the awesome Losing It. And I liked Grace Under Pressure, oddly enough. It was very keyboardy, but for some reason I like it. But after that, I did not like Power Windows. I didn't like Presto. I didn't like Roll the Bones. Counterparts got me back. And I dug Test for Echo, Snakes and Ladders, and I thought their last album was phenomenal. And Vapor Trails. I liked that as well. But Clockwork Angels was the best of the later stuff, and what a great, amazing song to end Rush's career as The Garden with those unbelievable Neil Peart lyrics. So cool, man. But anyway, what do you all think? You think that Rush was a punk band? Attitude-wise? Of course they're not. Music-wise. You know, leave it in the comments below. And please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Ring that little notification bell. I really would appreciate that. And like the video. That'd be awesome for the YouTube algorithms. So stay frosty. Listen to Black Sabbath and smack 'em a gob.
Farewell and adieu to you fair Spanish ladies.
Farewell and adieu, you ladies of Spain. For we've received orders for to sail back to Boston, and so never more shall we see you again.